Paulie Malignaggi, Tommy Rayno, and this is Tommy and Paulie's Big Fight Forecast. Welcome to another big week of boxing discussions on the gambling side of the sport. I say big week because this week we have a great week of boxing, a big PBC card, as well as Jai Opetaia defending in Australia. So some good gambling discussions to be talked about this weekend's shows. Many options. As you know, here on Tommy and Paulie's Big Fight Forecast, nothing we discuss is gambling or investing advice. It's strictly for entertainment purposes. But we do like to discuss the parlay side of things. So everything we discuss here is mostly based on how we like to build our parlays to make them, as we say, less risky and more pragmatic. Tommy, what's going on, buddy?
Big weekend. Big weekend after we just came off a big weekend the weekend before last, right? And then we got a little dip, and then we go into Jake Paul. So
yeah, well, close the year usually strong. Boxing usually tends to do that. So let's start with the PBC card, right, man? What do we got? We got Frank Martin with the opener?
Yeah, you know what? The Australia one. We got one in Australia earlier on in the day first.
Yeah. You know what we do? Yes, we have Jai Opetaia earlier on in the day. That's much earlier in the day for us, man, because it's a big time difference.
That I just read today that got picked up by UFC Fight Pass. So it's on UFC Fight Pass for those that have it.
But on the U.S. East Coast, is that a very early in the morning show?
Oh, yeah, because this fight's in Australia.
Yeah, so super early. Okay.
So it's probably like 8 a.m.
Okay.
But, Opetaia, who's an absolute beast. He's 20-0, 22 knockouts. Best cruiserweight in the world, arguably. I mean, Ramirez is right there with him. And now you got Benavidez. So the division is actually getting interesting now because you got Benavidez moving to one.
But how does Hussein Sakara, his opponent, come into play here?
I don't think he does at all, honestly, Paulie. I think I mean the odds tell you all you need to know. We're at the stage of, as far as gambling, as far as betting goes, we're at the stage of the game where betting on Opetaia is the same as betting on Inoue. I mean, the odds are outrageous. And even the odds for the knockouts now are still like minus 600, minus 700. So you got a prop bet. You have to basically knock it down to 1 through 6 or 7 through 12 to get realistic odds, which is
or even alive
about with this fight. So his opponent, 23-0, 13 knockouts. I mean, he's from Germany. I mean, what stands out, he's 40 years old, first of all. He's 40 years old. He hasn't been in with anybody. From the footage I've seen of him, I mean, he's fighting in very small halls with 500 people there, Paulie. He's never been on a big stage. He's aggressive, but anything that gets thrown back at him, I'm seeing him get hit with. But he's in there with absolute opponents. He's in there with bodies. He telegraphs his shots. He's wide. I mean, he's aggressive, but he's going to get countered to death. I don't see this fight going very long. And with Opetaia, now, keep in mind, he has, I believe it's 4 of his last 5 fights. He's knocked off undefeated fighters, all right? With the only one that went the distance with him, the former cruiserweight champion, if I pronounce his name right, Breakus, the one that Usyk beat.
Breakus, yeah.
Who's never been stopped.
No, Bradis. Breakus is the girl. Maris
Bradis. Now, both times he took him the distance. Those are the only 2 times he's been the distance. Otherwise, he's knocking these guys over like bowling pins. And he's doing it, Paulie, in 6 rounds or less. He's doing it in round 1, in round 4, in round 5. So I don't think this is going to be any different. He's in there with a guy that's never been 12 rounds. That's only been the 10-round distance one single time. I think he's only been past the 6-round distance 2 times. So
what do we do? KO 1 through 6? What's the odds there?
Right there, baby. KO 1 through 6. Minus 200. All right, so it's not fantastic, but
I mean, but it makes a parlay combined with other things for the weekend decent, right? There's a lot of other options to pair it with.
Listen, if you want to get greedy and you twist my arm, I'm saying KO 1 through 4, and then you're looking at plus odds, probably plus 125 or so. But the safer route, this fight ain't reaching the second half of the fight. But, that's the stage of the career we're at with him. Same thing with Inoue, where these odds are so outrageous on the money line, you're not going to touch the money line. So it's either a decision or it's a stoppage. And in most cases, it's going to be a stoppage. In the last fight with Inoue, with MJ, I had seen that going the distance from day one. So we got, fortunate in that one. But that's not going to come around too often. And it's definitely not going to happen here. So stoppage here, 1 through 6.
Gotcha. All right, man. That's a quick and easy one. Right. And you just broke down why you like the 1 through 6. I mean, this guy's 40 years old and has never stepped up, so it's a big ask to get in with Opetaia, who's a fast starter and likes to attack early. Let's move on to the PBC card. Saturday night on the U.S. East Coast. Saturday night, it's Frank Martin starts out the night. We got a 4-bout PBC card, which is main evented by Lamont Roach against Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But let's go through the fights one by one. Frank Martin.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over 5 fights actually, because originally it was Lara open up the show against Zekenbeck. How do you pronounce his name?
Oh, Ramkulov, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Janibek,
Obviously,
yeah.
he got popped, and that fight fell off. And now at the 11th hour, they found an opponent for a replacement opponent. So Lara's back on the card. So I don't know what the order of this card is. So we'll start off with Martin, because any which way Martin's fight is a 10 rounder. It's a fight of importance. And even if he doesn't kick off the pay per view, he'll be doing he'll be fighting on the Amazon Prime version, where you'll see him on TV either way. So yeah, Martin's 18-1, 12 knockouts. Obviously, he got stopped against Tank in his last fight, which was a while ago now. But I mean,
He hasn't fought in a while.
yeah, he gave a good account of himself with Tank Davis before getting caught. I mean, I thought that I've always thought that Martin was a good fighter, so I thought that was a very good win for Tank. I'd go as far as saying up until that point, it might have been the best win of his career. Call me crazy, but I think that Martin is that solid of a fighter. Very aggressive, good puncher, puts combinations together. 12 knockouts in 18 fights, but I think he hits a little bit harder than his record suggests. Now he's in there again. Another Bartholomew. How do I pronounce his name, Paulie?
Bartholomew, yeah.
Bartholomew, yeah. 30-3, former world champion, only 15 knockouts. Only stopped that one time, though, which was against Russell at the Barclays Center, which was a bit of a shady stoppage, if I recall. It was the 6th round. The referee pulled the plug a little quick. But again, we're talking about another 40-year-old guy here, Paulie. So that's a big
yeah.
And
Faded.
I mean, he's aggressive. He's going to come forward behind the high guard, but Martin's going to be too much for him. As far as the money line goes, we're looking at like minus 850. So the odds have actually gone up. It opened up at like 650. Everybody's jumping on it, so it up to minus 850. Martin wins this fight. It could just be a cherry on top for me. So far, it has been. I have not decided whether it's going to be a distance play or whether it's going to be a stoppage situation. I mean, at 40 years old, you got to think the stoppage is realistic at this point. But also, we haven't seen Martin since the Tank fight, so we got to see what Martin brings to the table.
Yeah, but if he's a little bit gun shy, a little bit hesitant, and trying to work his way back into things, of course.
Yes, it could happen. We've seen it many, many times.
But you pair a minus 850 money line with a minus 200 Opetaia in the first 6 rounds, and you're closing in on plus money odds, right?
Correct, Mundo. That's now we'll move right on to Ramos. Ramos Jr. against Shea Mosley.
Ramos Jr. is the guy that lost the close decision to Erickson Lubin.
I don't know how close it was. I thought he won the fight pretty easy, no?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was being kind, right? So, but that was on the Canelo versus Jamal Charlo card a while back.
Yeah.
And Ramos to that point had been kind of streaking, had been looking, like the goods. So he's got a bit something to prove. Mosley's always a durable guy, though, right?
Yeah, listen, Mosley actually, I mean, he's got a couple of good wins on his resume now. I mean, yeah, they were faded. Danny Jacobs was faded. Gabriel Rosado was faded, but he still looked, he handled those fights in one-sided fashion. And he's got a few, he beat Quinley. He's got a few good wins on his record. So he is better than I thought he was. He's 22-4. He's got 12 KOs, but he has a couple of interesting wrinkles here, Paulie. His last fight, Mosley, was at 168. He's got a big size advantage here. He's a 6'1" guy with a 74-inch reach who knows how to use his jab. The thing with Mosley is he's very offensive-minded. He's not the best defensive fighter in the world. Never been dropped, never been stopped, durable, knows his way around the ring. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. But Ramos Jr., I mean, what can you say? He's a very aggressive, come-forward Mexican southpaw that looks to punish you, hits the body hard, constantly putting you against the ropes, putting you in corners, putting you in uncomfortable positions. So I got Ramos in this fight for sure. This might be the first time that Mosley gets stopped.
I was just going to ask that. Is this a situation where if you don't control the pace and you control Ramos, he gets you out of there?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Ramos is 24 years old. Mosley's 34 years old. That's a factor. I think it's also a factor that Mosley's coming off a year of inactivity. These things play on a 34-year-old, but they're not going to play on a 24-year-old. And Mosley's going to have the size advantage because, again, Mosley's coming down for this fight from 168 to 160. His last fight was at 68. But how much is that going to take out of him at 34 years old as well?
I was going to say that as well.
Is that going to zap his legs? The interesting thing about Ramos, we already said Mosley's very durable. He's never been stopped, right? Ramos' stoppages, Paulie, they're all round 7, round 8, round 9. So you're going to get much juicier odds if you're going with the stoppage 7 through 12.
Second half.
Yeah, so that's what I'm leaning towards.
What are the odds on a second half stoppage here?
They're plus odds. I think they were, I want to say, plus 175.
All right.
The stoppage in and of itself was minus 145, which isn't bad. But the 7 through 12 stoppage is what the play is. Because I think he's going to have to break Mosley down to get rid of him. And again, as history tends to repeat itself, all these stoppages from Ramos lately have been coming in the second half of the fight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what? There's a lot of possible good plays. If you know how to build a parlay well, you don't get too greedy. Sometimes we don't like to extend parlays too long. So, sometimes we're talking about all these picks, but on a big fight card, but we may divvy up the parlays in various ways to make some parlays shorter than others. But
And
that's
multiple parlays. I always stress that. Listen, don't
yeah.
do one
And one
parlay.
parlay. Once you're going plus money with all the parlays, you
Yeah,
give
do
yourself a
multiple
better
parlays.
chances.
Do
Keep them
some
keep them
crazy
short, keep
times.
them manageable, but get them to less risk or even almost no risk. Okay, so next on the card, which one is the next one though? Is that the co-main event next on the card?
Yeah, Shockey Foster and Fulton, man. That's
Oh, Shockey
tough.
and Fulton. This is a nice little fight, bro. This is a nice
It's
little fight. Tricky little fight here.
Dude, that's tricky as is the main event. They're both tricky because of some gray areas that I'm going to go over. But when they first announced this fight, I was heavy on Fulton. Fulton's the underdog here. Not a big underdog. The odds have gotten a lot closer. Now it's about even. But Fulton only has 8 knockouts, so he's not scoring a lot of stoppages. You're not stopping Shockey Foster, especially not Fulton. Foster's very good defensively. Counterpuncher. Doesn't throw enough sometimes, Paulie. If anything, he's not active enough, but very good chin, very good defense. Nothing about this fight would insinuate that Fulton has any chance for scoring a stoppage. So that being said, if Fulton's going to win, he's going to do so by decision. And decision at plus 155 is real good odds. Now, the more I thought about this fight and I broke it down, there's some intangibles here. This is Fulton's first fight at 130 pounds, where Foster has been for a minute, all right?
Yeah.
And Fulton's looking to win his third world title in 3 different weight classes. Is he jumping too quick? Because he hasn't been at 126 long either. He wasn't 126 long either. So
and the 126, he looked good only in the Figueroa fight, right? He wasn't like a consistent looking good. There could still be questions about his return from Inoue, right?
Yeah, see, after the Inoue fight, I'm going blank on the Mexican guy that he fought afterwards. But I mean, he looked
terrible.
terrible.
He didn't look good in that fight.
He looked terrible.
After that, he beat Figueroa and looked good. So everybody's saying, okay, he's back. But we still have to see the consistency of that, right?
100%. Good point. Now, he got dropped in the follow-up fight after Inoue, and he was getting hit with all kinds of shots. And he was in there with a heavy punching, but he was getting hit with shots he shouldn't be getting hit with on that level. So going into the Figueroa fight, I thought that Inoue took everything out of him. I thought this was probably a shot fighter. And surprise, he goes out there and he beats Figueroa, who in turn, by the way, Figueroa looked shot. Figueroa was pushing his punches. Figueroa looked like he died making weight. So you gotta kind of weigh these things in. Now, Fulton and Foster, why it's an interesting fight. I mean, Foster's a southpaw. He's doesn't have a lot of output, but he's a very clean fighter. He's the cleaner of the two fighters. Judge-friendly punches. He's a good size for the weight. Where Fulton is more of a dog out there. Fulton, for a guy that only has 8 career knockouts, he doesn't fight like it. I mean, he digs to the body. He throws overhands. He's aggressive. He comes forward.
From Philly.
Yeah. He's got a lot of grit to him. So that actually could be the thing that swings rounds in his favor because, as I said, Shockey Foster is not the busiest guy. He leaves rounds up for grabs.
But does he leave himself open for Shockey's crazy cardiac kids type of late comebacks that he sometimes has had?
Remember that 12th round knockout where he's behind a couple fights back? Possibly, but I think this fight's a distance fight all day. So honestly, as I said early on, I was heavy on Fulton, and the more I thought about it, I said, there is another factor. Foster's also coming off a year layoff because this fight got postponed. So for a clean, a clean counter puncher like Foster, that could be a thing. His timing could affect him a little bit, but ultimately, I'm going to go with the safest pick here, Paulie, is that this fight goes the distance because I think it's going to be razor close. Yeah. I think we're looking at a majority split type situation that comes down to those championship rounds.
Yeah. If you're feeling froggy and you want to, maybe take a little bit of a risk, okay, Fulton by decision. But yeah, if you're not feeling too froggy, but you want to bet this fight, I think just the distance.
Listen, you'll get the same odds if you favor Foster. You're going to get those same odds. You'll get like a plus 150 for the decision there as well.
Of course, but again, it's just in general, it's just which way does it go? It could go either way of the decision, and of course, that's why it's gambling, right? Some people want to take that chance and get the plus odds, but I think if you build a parlay with a couple of the good picks and you put just this fight going distance, you manage your risks and you're getting into the plus money.
Yeah, what I've been in the beginning, I was picking Fulton for the decision, and now all my recent parlays I've just been doing the fight going the distance because it's going to be close. It's just a matter of does Fulton out hustle this guy, or is this guy's clean effective punching going to be judge friendly enough to get him the rounds? There's going to be so many close swing rounds, but it's going to be a really good fight.
Yeah, it's a good discussion to have, man. But I like that as well. That's probably what I'm going with. Okay, man. Main event. Lamont Roach and Pitbull Cruz. Here's my concerns here with Lamont Roach and Pitbull Cruz, especially as somebody who has fought under the Texas Commission against a Mexican American fighter when I fought Juan Diaz. Very tricky to go to Texas and take on either a house fighter or a Mexican fighter or a Mexican American fighter with a very partisan crowd and dare I say, shady judging. We've seen him multiple times out in that commission. It's a great state for boxing fans. It really is, and that's why they keep getting big fights because Texas has some really, really loyal boxing fans, and not just loyal to their fighter, which obviously they are, but fighters they actually are, but also very, very passionate, very, very passionate boxing fans. Having said that, it's a commission that is business first, sports second in a lot of ways, and they'll sort of gravitate certain decisions that way, as we've seen, and as I've seen personally. So that's where, in a fight that is really even, in my opinion, Pitbull and Lamont, I start to worry because I said personally, I don't know how you see it, Tom, but this is a distance fight as well, right? Just like the co-main event. Because Lamont will not throw a lot of punches in general, but he'll catch and shoot him. Right? But if it starts to get really tough on him, Lamont will hold his defense real tight, and maybe his output will decrease in some ways. He's a distance fighter. And Pitbull, is a pretty good puncher.
Pitbull's Pitbull,
but pretty ordinary.
Yeah, but he's coming forward. He's coming forward. He's going to be aggressive. We're going to get the same.
Of course, but Lamont's feet also aren't. They're not. They're not the fastest feet themselves. Lamont is a DC style boxer. Which is planted feet, rolls, catch and shoots. Technical, but in place where Pitbull can make contact, and the crowd can be a little bit wild if there's any kind of contact. That goes as well. So, having said that, go ahead, man. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, here's something we're not factoring in. I mean, is Roach capable and disciplined enough where they devise a game plan where his team is just, listen, box, use the jab, use your legs? This guy.
I think Roach is very disciplined, but the thing is, again, he is what he is, right? He's not going to suddenly turn into something he's not. He's solid, but is his style going to avoid enough contact to avoid the crowd becoming rabid? Because again, a catch and shoot fighter and roll and shoot fighter still gets a lot of contact. It just doesn't land cleanly. But in front of a passionate crowd, they'll go crazy for any kind of contact, even if it's not landing cleanly. And of course, like I said, I don't trust that commission. Go ahead.
Let me ask you something I didn't realize until last night. Do you think that this being Roach's first fight at 140 factors in at all?
I do, but not as much because Pitbull also was a guy who started at 130. So it's pretty much a guy his size. I clue that in less, but I do clue in Pitbull's punching power against a guy who doesn't avoid punches altogether. He's more of a catch and shoot guy. Because, as you've boxed as well, when guys hit hard enough, even if you're catching their shots, you're still feeling something. And Roach is more of a catch and shoot fighter than he is a leave the pocket and make you miss and catch air fighter, So, yeah, I got to keep all those factors in mind. I still think Roach is disciplined enough to win the fight, but can he get a decision? So that's why, personally, for me, distance is more.
Now, let me ask you this.
Pitbull hits hard, but I think Roach knows how to navigate his way around.
Yeah, Pitbull hits hard, but 18 knockouts and 27 wins. You're not talking about a murderous puncher. You're talking about a very solid puncher.
True.
But what do you think about Roach's chin? I mean, do you think that Cruz is capable of hurting this guy?
I think Roach has a good chin, but I think Cruz can hurt you. Yeah, I think Cruz.
Because if you think about it from that perspective, just from a gambling perspective, we know that Roach is not scoring the knockout, right? That's not in the cards. Yeah. Pitbull's got.
Okay. All right, I see where you're going. Go ahead.
So there's only one path to victory for Roach, and that is by decision, right? And now you talk about the shady Texas judges. You got to think about that as well. Where Cruz, Cruz can make the fight competitive on the scorecards, but Cruz also, we don't know, at 140 pounds, maybe he catches Roach with something. I think the possibility of Roach getting a knockout is not there, where Cruz has more realistic chance.
Okay. You know what? What do you think of the fight going the distance with a knockdown?
Not a bad bet. I don't know if I could find an official prop for that. For a knockdown to still go the distance, I have to look into that. Usually with the much bigger fights like Canelo Alvarez or something like that, they'll have a million different props out there. I don't know if they'll have something out there like that.
I would say maybe a fun, risky parlay, prop like Roach to win going the distance but getting knocked down in the process might be realistic. But
that you could find.
The freaking commission, it worries me,
Yeah, you won't find it's tough to find a prop bet where a guy gets knocked down and goes the distance, but to get off the canvas and still win, you'll get that prop bet there, plus odds every time. Yeah. This fight, you know what? Again, no different than the Forster Fulton fight. I started in the beginning. I was putting in Roach for all of my parlays, and a majority of those parlays were for the decision at -130. And then I said to myself, you know what? The combination of 140 pounds, the combination of Texas, and you know what? A little bit of inactivity. I mean, he not that the Davis fight was so long ago, but it kind of looked like he blew up in weight a little bit. I know when they had the preliminary weigh-ins, he was always heavier than.
I've seen him. That's why that's another reason why we find 140 is comfortable for him, right?
All right, but you know what?
These are small 140 pounders, bro. Because I was a 140 pounder for a long time, and they're a lot smaller than me, bro. If I stand next to these guys, they're much shorter.
Cruz is 5'7", and he's a little truck, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got this going the distance too at -350. Once you parlay that, listen, if Foster goes the distance with Fulton and Cruz and Roach go the distance in both of those fights, I'm in a beautiful position because
and Opetaia with the first 4 rounds, if it's extra froggy for plus money.
Yeah,
you know?
and Ramos 7 through 12. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah,
but
so again, it's just a matter of building the right parlay. Somebody could get greedy and bet all of these together in one parlay. I think that's a bit more risky because you want to. I feel personally, I like to keep my parlays short, as you do too. But if you build a few of them and maybe build the right ones, there's a possibility to make some money.
I've hit outrageous parlays like that where I'm saying I feel 1 through 4 on the stoppage, 7 through 12 on the stoppage, decision, upset, and all of a sudden I got like plus 2,200 odds. But dude, I'm not doing that with $100 or $200. I'm doing that with a small like $10 bet.
Yeah.
I'll do all my different parlays and I'll punt once in a while.
Yeah, who was it that was telling? Was it you that was telling me there was a guy that hit a $5 million parlay recently?
No, that probably no. But our buddy Tyrone James, consistently off $10 and $20 bets makes $2,000. Yeah, he loses a ton.
So that could be because there was a guy it's that kind of parlay, but there was a guy at Hard Rock, in the casino by me.
Okay,
listen, he's got money. It was like a $20,000 parlay.
But what Tyrone does, he sends me these slips, and sometimes he'll fall just a leg short. Sometimes he'll ask me my opinion, should he cash out early or not. But he'll put in these parlays. He'll do several different ones for $10 here, $15 there, but outrageous odds. And yeah, you long term you got to
hits.
And not all of them, of course not. He's not saying to go the losers, but he'll hit.
For those money, you can lose 10, 20 in a row. It doesn't matter. You hit one, you 100x your money already. You know what I mean?
Tyrone has sent me multiple slips over the last couple of years,
often, right?
And he'll win 2,000 here, 2,400 here, off a $15 to $20 bet.
Yeah,
so it will happen. And then we got one more.
Imagine betting like $10,000 on a parlay like that.
You're gonna lose $10,000. That's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. Somebody gotta have the money, right? But that's what I'm saying about this guy at the Hard Rock. He had like a $20,000 parlay and he hit for $5 million.
Oh my God!
That's pretty wild. I'm sure they hated him.
Oh yeah. And then we got one last fight since Lara's been added back to the card against Johan Gonzalez.
Oh yeah. Okay, Johan Gonzalez. Okay,
yeah. So Gonzalez has been in there with some guys. He's been stopped twice. He's got 4 losses. He's getting up there in age. He's taking the fight though. You got to think about this. He's taking the fight on like less than 3 days' notice against a guy that just went.
Failed the drug test. Sure. Does Janabek get stripped now or no?
Who knows? Who knows with these commissions? Who knows?
Mm. Okay.
All right. But
this also seems like another stoppage here, right?
This is a walk away here. I got Lara. I got Lara by stoppage. Yeah, I think Gonzalez is tough. He got stopped by Tellez in 7 rounds, and Tellez just recently cost me money. So Tellez, not to say he's not the real deal, but Tellez is not on the level of a Lara, let's say. So he got stopped by Tellez. He did beat Gerard Hurd, who's a good fighter, but it was at the very end of Hurd.
Yeah.
Very close decision. He also got stopped by who's your guy that you always have on Pro Box? Very similar stuff. Hernandez.
Vladimir.
He fought him well.
Vladimir Hernandez.
Yeah.
Vladimir,
he's been in tough. I mean, he got stopped by Ramos. Ramos, who's fighting on the undercard, who's fighting Mosley Jr. He got stopped in 9 rounds by.
Ramos is a pretty good puncher himself.
Yeah, Ramos is a good puncher. What do those things have in common? Also, Paulie, they're both southpaws. Tellez is a southpaw. Ramos is a southpaw. Lara's a southpaw.
Lara's up. Okay. I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, so I see Lara for the stoppage here. I wouldn't get greedy. I don't know. I know the money line came out today. It was -500, which cherry on top, but it's not. -500. I don't consider it bad.
What about Lara for the stoppage? What does it become?
Once those props are out, I'm thinking it'll probably be in the -190 to 200 ballpark.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, again, this guy's taking the fight on 3 days' notice. Lara had a full camp. It didn't happen.
Yeah. If you're not getting greedy, you just put him in straight and
You don't pull off the biggest win of your career and win a world title against a guy on 3 days' notice. That's just not your age, not 35 years old.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. That's well, some good boxing this weekend, man. I am in Wales right now for the BKB this week, so I'll fly back on Saturday though, so I'll be checking out the fight.
Who do they got up there in the main event?
Huh?
Who they got in the main event on the bare knuckle?
They actually have the title fight in my weight class, which technically I'm supposed to fight the winner, but I am undecided on things.
Undecided, yeah.
I'll decide that later. It depends on several factors, but that's for a discussion for another time. But yeah, man, I'll be back Saturday as well. Actually, on Pro Box, we're gonna do a live watch along.
Okay.
Because Lamont is a Pro Box fighter, so we'll have a little bit of a watch along going on.
Yeah.
And that's it, man.
All right.
That's it for this week's episode. We hope everybody enjoyed it. Give us your comments. Let us know what you think of this slew of fights this weekend, and also the picks. If you agree, disagree, or what you think of things, or how are you guys betting lately? Are you making any money on boxing lately? And let us know. Let us also know what you think of the show. Subscribe, smash that like button, and smash that subscription button. And we'll see you next week, man, because, the year closes out always with some exciting big fights, and December has several interesting cards. I'm Paulie Malinaji. That's Tommy Rayno. This is Tommy and Paulie's Big Fight Forecast.